I am supposed to be presenting right now, but we're having some technical difficulties, as is often the case. So I sincerely apologize for that. We're trying to get the video up and running. Hello, I'm seeing some people check in. Good to meet you guys. This is a little bit crazy, but we are going to get that video on, and we are going to get some Maker Camp t-shirts made today. I 100% promise we're going to make this work. We're makers. It's what we do, right? So I thought I'd take a second to introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Sandy Roberts. I live in rural New Jersey, Blairstown, New Jersey. I've been doing Maker Camp since the beginning, for a long time now. And every year I host it all over our area. Hi, Mike. Hey, Maker Camp. Hey, everybody. So I do Maker Camp through our library. I do it through our local schools. I bring Maker Camp projects to a local pool. I bring Maker Camp projects to our farmers market. I really, really just enjoy everything about Maker Camp. And so much so that I actually spoke about Maker Camp 3 years ago at Maker Faire, New York, and was asked if I want to share what I had learned about Maker Camp and share some projects. So I was actually invited to write the big book of Maker Camp projects with McGraw-Hill. So there's lots of good ideas in there. And what we're going to work on today is actually from the book, some different ideas for making Maker Camp shirts. Hi, Tara. Hi, Todd. Hi, Dallas. Very nice. I see people coming in from all over. I'm going to try not to assassinate folks' names. So we are getting started. We're getting our video up. I am sorry. This is just kind of a fill in the blanks that we're doing right now while we wait for the official stream to actually begin. Let me show you what we're working on today, just so you can kind of get an idea. We're going to be making, sorry, this is all kind of a little bit haphazard, but we're going to be making some t-shirts. Let's see, this one is kind of my favorite that I've done recently. Okay, this is our tie-dye with permanent marker. And this one's very, very simple, just a simple stencil, some permanent markers, and a little bit of alcohol. Here's another version I did of that, a little more geometric, little less bleeding there, but still really fun. We're gonna do some shirts with acrylic paint. I hope you guys can hear me. Oh, Benjamin, are you asking about making personal protective equipment, or are we talking about making masks for our stencils that we're doing today? Because I do have some easy ways to do that. Both, actually. I've been doing both. And this is our acrylic t-shirt. Oh, how did it not bleed? Well, that's really about having your timing just right. Oh, I'm glad you guys can hear me. So let's talk about what you need for today's project. We may as well get started with that set so you can get everything together so you can kind of follow along. Obviously, you need a t-shirt. White is kind of your best choice if you have one. You can use the front or back of a t-shirt. It's not the big deal. Oh, COVID mask. Okay, yes. What I recommend, Benjamin, go to Prusa, okay? Prusa.com. They have a great section on printing COVID masks, and they can definitely help you out. Anyway, so you're going to need a t-shirt. Obviously, if you have a darker colored t-shirt or like a yellow t-shirt, you can still make this work. It's just going to be about what colors you choose to put on there. So whatever t-shirt you have works. Ideally, it should be washed and ironed, but life is not ideal, as we can tell, right? So don't worry about it. Whatever you've got on hand will absolutely work. You are going to need something to cut your stencil from. Now, I will post in a moment, but if you go to the Family Maker Camp website, makercamp.com, under the event page, there is a PDF that you can print out, and it looks like this. It's Mr. Makey. We love Mr. Makey. I make Mr. Makey t-shirts every year. I miss Craft Magazine too, Rebecca. I actually have every copy. I found them and have them going. So this is our stencil for today. A couple of things you need to know about stencils. They're not like a normal drawing. We're going to be cutting out these dark areas you can see, okay, and leaving behind these white areas. That's what's going to mask the paint. So we want the paint to go through the areas we cut out and mask the paint from going through the other areas, which means we don't want our eyeballs to like fall out when we go and take apart our stencil, right? So we have these little bridges, okay? They're called bridges, and they connect to islands. And what that means is when we cut out these dark sections, those bridges are going to hold our stencil together all as one piece, okay? So that when we attach it, we can make that work. Thanks, Mick. And hi, Mark. And let's see, that Ludwig, welcome. So you can print out this PDF right onto copy paper, no big deal, and you can use it as your stencil. Now, there are, of course, better materials to use if you have them on hand. I usually like to print maybe on something thicker like cardstock, okay, a little thicker. That way, whatever you put on top won't bleed through. I would also recommend, if you want to, I have some manila folders. I have some cereal boxes. And so what I'll often do is take my paper stencil and just use some stick glue and glue it onto something a little thicker and a little stronger so that you can keep that any paint or whatever from bleeding through. And it makes it a more of a reusable stencil. So that is one suggestion. If you are just using paper, attach it to something a little thicker and work from there. If you have on hand those dollar store, inexpensive, flexible kitchen cutting mats, those can make great stencils. If you have a parent in the house or someone in the house that likes to craft, they may have some of this craft vinyl around. It makes great stencil material because nothing gets through it, okay? And if you have a digital cutter like a Cricut or a Silhouette, you can cut your stencil with that. In the project library for Maker Camp under the t-shirt project for today, I actually have the SVG file, so you can download that and cut it with your digital cutter or your vinyl cutter, quick and easy stencils. Another thing that works really well, contact paper. It's not just for lining your cabinets like Grandma used to do. This peel and stick is basically a giant sticker. And if you attach your stencil to the plastic part of this, the shiny plastic part, right, and then cut through, you're going to peel off. If I can do this, I really need to grow my fingernails out, but I garden too much and they get ruined every time. Anyway, you can peel off the sticker back and that works too. So those are kind of what we're going to use for our t-shirt and our stencils. The rest of it's fairly easy. For our permanent markers, any brand will do. I got mine at Dollar General or something. So whatever kind of permanent markers that you happen to have around are going to work. A little spray bottle, an old hairspray bottle, whatever, and a little isopropyl alcohol is what you need, okay? And that's for our permanent marker tie-dye. That's this version here, this guy, okay? Now, for the acrylic paint, pretty much the same thing, but obviously you're going to use paint, not a washable paint. I like to use craft acrylics, not like nice artsy acrylics. Those are a little thicker and harder to work with on this. But we're also going to use a mixture of vinegar, glycerin, and water to thin out our paint. And if we thin out our paint that way, it attaches better and binds better to our fabric, and it stays a little more flexible and comfortable to wear. So you're going to want to grab that too. So those are our basic supplies today. You do need a pair of scissors for cutting your stencil, or if you have a craft knife, that's going to be a lot easier, okay, to cut your stencil. But if you are younger, you're going to want to make sure that you have a pair of gloves and some parents to help you out so that you don't accidentally cut yourself. This is right now, Jeffrey, me live. It was a recorded live stream because I live in a pretty rural area and I don't always have good Wi-Fi. So we're just glad that we have internet right now. There will be a recorded video coming up shortly. And that has a little more detail in it. So let's see. Any questions about Maker Camp in general? I've been doing this for like 8 or 9 years now. I can answer any questions. I've had just about everything go wrong that can go wrong. I've had just about every t-shirt fail you can imagine too. Some other t-shirt ideas. Where did my t-shirt ideas go? Ah, here we go. So this one, okay, another idea that you can do with your same stencil is if you spray with a little bit of bleach and water, a 50-50 mix of bleach and water, it will actually remove the dye from your shirt, and you'll get that bleached out effect, which is really fun to do. Tara, these camps can be literally everywhere. Anyone can start a camp. If you are passionate about getting a camp started, there's tons of support through the Maker Camp website, and other affiliates through the group will absolutely help you out. There's a lot of resources available, and heck, you can just contact me anytime, and I am happy to help you get a Maker Camp started. Usually schools, libraries. I have done Maker Camps through churches, homeschool co-ops. Yeah. So anywhere that you want to start one, you can do it. I mean, it's your opportunity to make a Maker Camp. All right, let's see. What am I seeing here? Okay. Just checking in from Jillian. Gosh, I have completely forgotten what I was talking about. Sorry, this is a little bit on the fly. Right, bleach shirt. See, it's sitting in my lap. Totally forgot what I was talking about. Different colored dark shirts will bleach differently, and that can be really fun. And then you can go in with permanent markers or paint afterwards and add details. The other thing you can do with a bleach shirt is if you have those bleach pens made by Clorox, you can actually draw on the shirt with the Clorox pen, and it will bleach out that area. So you can like freehand it. I actually have an amazing artist friend. Her company's called Enshrine Designs, and she does henna, and she has now taken that beautiful art form and brought it onto things like t-shirts using bleach pens, and they're just really gorgeous. So you can have a lot of fun with that. So just be careful if you're going to use bleach on a shirt. Don't use straight bleach. Don't work in sunlight. You definitely want to work outside because of the fumes. But if you let that bleach go too far in a warm, hot, sunny situation, it's going to eat a hole in your shirt, to be completely honest, and that's going to be maybe a little more vintage than you might want. So use a 50-50 solution. I also like to keep a blow dryer on hand. So if it's bleaching too much or too fast, I can just kind of dry it and redo it. These you definitely want to wash before you wear. Okay, be very careful with that. And see what other fun shirts do I have? Oh, this is probably my favorite shirt of all time. This is the Spin Art shirt. Okay, so if you go on Make Magazine, on the Make Magazine site, they have a process for turning one of your regular old drills into a Spin Art machine. And that works pretty well. There's also an Instructables for turning an old box fan into a Spin Art. Giant Spin Art. This is probably the number one thing I bring around to camp every year. It never gets old. I have kids that have done this every year for 9 years. They will still come to do Spin Art. Stupid Robot Fighting League. I want to know everything about you guys. All right, welcome to the cast here. So Spin Art, right? You're going to make how to make the stencil. Can you show it again? Sure thing. Okay. This is our stencil. You're going to print it out from the PDF. Okay. Now, you usually want to try to mount this to something like a manila folder or an old cereal box to give it a little more stiffness and a little more thickness. But you can use it just as it is. If you're using a regular paper stencil, you're just going to take your pair of scissors and find a spot to start, clip in there, and then just go around and look at my amazing scissor skills here. My kindergarten teacher would be so proud. I was actually in like the special scissors group. I was not good at scissors. I was afraid of them. So there we go. So you're just going to cut out the black areas of the stencil and be careful about these little bridges. Those bridges are important to hold your stencil together. Okay. If you have a craft knife and a mat, it's much easier to do with that and just cut away the black that way. If you have a digital cutter, yes. I love to use my Silhouette Cameo. That's my preferred machine, but some people have Cricuts. The new Cricut Maker is out. Those things with a SVG, you can cut a ton of stencils really fast. And in fact, if you're going to do that, where did my freezer paper go? I think I've lost it. If you can get your hands on freezer paper, that stuff is the best to make stencils out of. It's cheap, it's lightweight, it cuts really easily. You can use scissors, you can use a digital cutter, whatever. You're right, do not run with scissors, it's a bad idea. And the beautiful thing about freezer paper is when you put it on your fabric and iron it lightly, it sticks to the fabric. So it doesn't shift around and move on you. No paint can get under your stencil, because that's the biggest concern that you have when you're making a stenciled item, is that your ink or paint is going to slide under. It's going to bleed under your stencil and not give you nice crisp edges. Okay. So you don't want that to happen. And that's kind of your toughest thing. If you don't have access to that, simple clear contact paper, any kind of contact paper works great. So does craft vinyl. Or the other thing, and I can see my spray adhesive way across the room, but if you have that spray adhesive, that stuff is great for spraying on the back of your stencil, stick it down onto your shirt, and it's going to stay really, really well. Okay. Freezer paper. There's still a use for freezer paper. Unfortunately, I am out of it, and I'll be honest, I'm not going to run to the store for that. I feel like that's not essential, right? But freezer paper is the best stenciling material. When I do camps and I've got dozens of shirts I'm going to be doing at once, the night before, I cut them all on a silhouette. We iron them on. Everybody's good to go. Oh, it is awesome for airbrushing. That is so true. I'll do spray paint or like I'll talk about in a little bit, making your own alcohol ink spray paints, and freezer paper works amazing for that. What I do with my freezer paper, if you're going to cut it on a digital cutter or you don't want like really big sheets, is I get my bread knife and I'll measure the freezer paper roll, the whole roll, to the width I want, which is usually about 8 to 9 inches, 8.5 inches. And I will slice the freezer paper roll at that length and then use a paper cutter to slice in the other direction. So I get lots of nice little sheets, and then it's boom, quick and easy to cut on your cutter or to hand out to the kids. That's the other fun thing with freezer paper. You hand it out to the kids. On the paper side, they use markers, draw their shape, teach them how to cut it out, and just iron it right on. Frisket film. I haven't used that, Daniel. I don't know what that is. Now I have to find out this new material and put it to good use. Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like I want to do more airbrushing with kids. When I was at Maker Faire Rochester this year, they had a whole airbrushing studio that came out, and we're teaching kids to use the airbrush. And it was just so cool. They had a line the whole day. And I, of course, didn't get over there because I was making robots or whatever. But wow, I really want to try some airbrushing. So if you've got some links, please share them so I can check those out later. Where was I? Right, so spin art. This is pretty simple. So you take the blades off of a box fan. Okay, you just cut them off. I used a little rotary cutter. And you take obviously you're going to take the front screen off the box fan. All of this with parent supervision, please. Hi, Bridget. Or, did I say that right? I'll have to check that out, Daniel. So you take the front off the box fan, you take the blades off the box fan, and then you'd get like a nice big piece of cardboard. And I just used the cardboard from the box that the box fan came in. And you screw that onto the hub from the blades in the center. Instant spin art machine. Okay. Now you can attach, I just tack paper and stuff right onto the cardboard. You can tack a shirt with your stencil right onto the cardboard. And then I just let the kids squirt acrylic paints right onto the shirt as it's spinning. It is ludicrous and so much fun. Okay. And then you get these amazing explosions of shirts out of them. And we had such a good time doing those. I brought that to the pool. We must have done, I don't know, 50 or 60 in like an hour. I don't even know how we got that many done, but it was so much fun. So spin art everything and spin art your t-shirts. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, here's one of my early Maker Camp shirts. This is back in the day. Maker Camp affiliates used to get the affiliate box, and it would have all kinds of really cool stuff. That's how I got my first Raspberry Pi and my first Makey and my first Arduino. All those things came in, the affiliate box. And they used to hand out t-shirts. They used to send t-shirts. And so my first year of Maker Camp, this is a funny story, actually. First year of Maker Camp, I love screen printing. It was the first way I ever made a t-shirt as a kid. And at camp, which is why I make camp t-shirts every year. And so I was going to share this experience with my makers. I had never screen printed, like I'd never done the emulsion, all of it myself. I practiced, I made a mess of my bathroom. I was ready to go. We made our design, and I got busy helping a kid with a Lego project. And I overexposed the emulsion on the screen. Yeah, it didn't work out well. It was a total fail. all that planning, all that money, whatever, we could not use our screen. It was an epic fail. So instead, I just threw out a bunch of permanent markers and crazy paints and, Google eyes and fabric glue. And I let the kids go to town on the standard make shirts that everybody got. And they were so creative. They colored in Mr. Makey. They signed each other's shirts on the back. And that became a tradition now for my maker camps. We always sign our shirts on the back. Okay. Sounds like the video is coming up. Yes? Okay. Published at 4:45. Okay, so we'll give it a couple more minutes. Anyway, so we ended up having a really good time. And it wasn't for a couple of years later that I read, again, in Make Magazine, about using vinyl stencils on your screens for screen printing. Well, that worked out great. I made a nice vinyl stencil. We did a nice big screen. And of course, to jazz it up a bit, I found these great powders by a company called Solar Color Dust. And they change color with body heat. Okay, so we did like a whole like retro 1980s theme that year. And so we did shirts that changed with your body heat, and it was really fun to have color changing shirts. And that's what I do now for maker fairs all over the place. We do color changing note cards of Mr. Makey, which is a really fun project to do. And the dusts are non-toxic, they're inexpensive, you can mix them into any media, so you can really go wild with it. You can use glow in the dark too. So in fact, for our acrylic paint, you could just go right ahead and use any kind of paint you have. If you have glow in the dark paint and you want a glow in the dark Mr. Makey, that'd be awesome. Let's see, what other ideas do I have in my bag of ideas? I don't know, where'd they go? I have one more. For those of you with digital cutters. Sorry, where'd it go? My shirts are running away. Aha! Ta-da! Heat transfer vinyl, super huge. Heat transfer vinyl is pretty easy to do, especially if you have a digital cutter, but you can cut this by hand and you just iron it right onto the shirt. So we did metallics last year. So everybody had a really metallic Mr. Makey. And then again, Google eyes. And I think this one has glow in the dark paint around it on the edges so that it glows at night. So that's really easy. And stupid robot fighting leak, even if you don't have fabric paint, what you're going to do is you're going to mix a tablespoon of vinegar, a tablespoon of vegetable glycerin, or you can maybe use corn syrup, it's a little stickier, and a tablespoon of water, and mix that with your regular old acrylic paint that you have hopefully on hand, and that will make it a fabric paint. So it's really easy to do, okay? And if you don't have the glycerin, a little bit of vinegar will help basically bind the cotton of the t-shirt. And the shiny Makey is this is my daughter's. She will not give this shirt up. You're going to have to make your own, Kathy. Sorry. But I can definitely help you out with that. But the vinegar in your homemade fabric paint medium will kind of unwind the cotton a little bit and make the paint actually be able to bond with it better. And the glycerin just lets the paint take a little longer to set, so you can get a thinner coat, so you don't get kind of the inflexibility that you might get with acrylics otherwise. If you don't have those things, just thin out your paint a little bit with water and go for it. It'll be fine. Okay, let's see. We've got a couple more minutes before we go to our prepared video where I don't sound like, a crazy person. Let's see, what other fun things have we done with t-shirts? Oh, this one's a good one. This one is perfect for Earth Day. You'll have to forgive me. I'm literally digging in a bag of dozens of shirts. Aha. This is the dirt shirt. Okay, the dirt shirt. So this was born from a trip to Maker Faire. I think you're pretty smart too, stupid robots, despite your name. So the nice thing about dirt shirt, I saw this at Maker Faire, New York, and they had a process from India where they were using different dirts from around the world to dye silk scarves. And I thought that was so really cool. So I had to figure out how to do it myself, right? And it's surprisingly easy. It's actually a process that's been done for hundreds of years, thousands of years in Africa, in India, in Japan. And I knew that there were so many ways to make shirts, and I'm coming up with more. So all you do is you get dirt. You want something that's got a good bit of iron in it, something that's pretty red. So this is one of those ones where if you have like clay soil that nothing wants to grow in, you've got the best dirt for dirt shirts. So you mix that with some water. It does help. I did some practicing. It can help to mix it with a little vinegar, with a little soy milk to help bond to the shirt. It also helps to wash this in like soda ash or what do they call it? Washing powder beforehand, just to, again, loosen up those fibers. But you just basically make a paste out of your dirt and some water or some soy milk and some vinegar, and you put your stencil on, and then you apply a really thick coat to the shirt and let it sit overnight. Okay, you want to let it really, really bond to that shirt. And when you take it off the next day and rinse it out, you will have I like to have the kids bring dirt from their own yards so they can compare and see like whose dirt made the different colors, because the chemistry of that soil will make a huge difference. And then you've got a great STEM opportunity, right? You can teach them like how to test soil chemically. You can teach them about different textures of soil, teach them about the difference between clay and sand and all these different things. So you've got like this great jumping off point. The other thing you can do is mix in different spices with this. We had a lot of fun testing, mixing in paprika or mixing in curry powder or turmeric, all kinds of things that we could imagine. Clove, ground clove, mixing that into here to see what different colors we got. So we might do the head with some dirt with paprika and some with curry, and then see what kind of color shifts we got. And that was a lot of fun to do. Another, soil chemistry is my thing. I took a whole class in grad school because I like dirt. Another fun thing you can do while you've got the spices out anyway is if you've never made egg temperas with kids and talked about Leonardo da Vinci and some of the amazing artists from the Renaissance, that's a great opportunity to do it. Basically, you mix egg yolk and you mix different spices and you create your own paints. And I always make stains on purpose, or at least that's what I say. So you mix up the egg yolk and you mix up the different spices, and then you give them a little canvas and you have them paint with it. And they get so much out of that. Just the idea that you can make your own paint from nature, totally on your own, and from your kitchen cabinet. And they painted some just amazing things. I wish I had examples of them on hand. I don't have any with me right now. But so that's the dirt shirt. That one's a really fun shirt as well. This year I'm working with rhinestones just because why not? So I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm working with some shirts to light up. So I will keep you guys posted when I get some light up shirts figured out. Obviously, there's a lot of ways to do sewn circuits. So my goal is to teach kids how to do some sewn circuits this year and make their shirts actually light up. Gosh, what else can I talk about before we actually run the video? Any questions from you about Maker Camp or about Maker Camp t-shirts? I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. Oh, I know. One more idea that I did want to share is every year we do some kind of cosplay because I love costumes, and who doesn't want to feel like a superhero, right? So this shirt, the bleach shirt I actually did on the back of the t-shirt. What you can do is if you cut right along the seam, okay, on the outside towards the sleeve, cut the sleeve off, leaving that seam there to hold it all together, and then cut along the seam at the shoulder and go along the collar, leaving, along the collar here, okay? That collar, the shirt goes away, the sleeves are gone, you're just left with this and the collar, and it becomes a cape, okay? So that's really fun to do. You can do the back of the shirt and go crazy. So my info is available on the Family Maker Camp site under the event and also under the t-shirt project in our project library. Okay, you can find me on Twitter as Kaleidoscope Sci. You can find me on Facebook through my business, Kaleidoscope Enrichment. Sleeve stencils, you mean like putting them on the sleeve? Yeah, it's really just about getting out your tape measure and figuring out the right size. Now, if you want to actually do something to wrap around, honestly, it's a lot easier to just do it in pieces and do multiple stencils. So yeah, making capes out of your t-shirts is another great fun thing to do. And really easy. For kids that maybe don't want a cape, it's very easy to transform, again, cutting your sleeves off. And then if you cut up from the bottom strips and tie them in square knots, and then just take out the you cut out more of the collar, you can make a nice little tote bag, an upcycled tote bag, and they can have their Mr. Makey on there. And initial washing instructions. So if you're using any kind of a dye-based material, or if you're using the soil shirts, you can iron the stencil if you're using freezer paper. So for the permanent marker, for the dirt shirts, you're going to want to heat it. Either iron it or throw it in the dryer on high for a good 20 minutes to set those dyes, to really set the stain, basically, is what you're doing. For things like acrylic or screen printing, though, you want to give that time to cure and not mess with it for a couple of days, even a week, and let it just sit before you wash it, because you really want that chemical curing process to happen so it bonds to the shirt itself. All right. Are we ready to switch over? Is that what we're doing? I don't know. You guys tell me when you're going to the, otherwise I'll just keep talking all day. That's a big problem. I never shut up. It's what kinds of things do I do at Maker Camp? Wow. I like to pick a theme. Have I done multiple colors? Many times. You can do multiple colors. Use masking tape to mask out the areas that you don't want to put that one color in. Take off the masking tape and add the color. So at Maker Camp, we do everything from robotics, computer programming, green screen animation, stop motion animation, all kinds of fun techie stuff, 3D printing. But we also try to bring in just the fun of summer. So we'll make up games, we'll make up obstacle courses, because that gets your brain thinking about problems and solutions. I love to take rockets outside. We do marshmallow launchers, and we'll be doing a PVC workshop a little later this month where you can make a marshmallow launcher, make a stomp rocket. So all that kinds of stuff. And of course, lots of traditional crafting. I like to try and bring in a lot of nature, because I feel like that's an important part of camp. So we'll do scavenger hunts. We'll grow things. We've grown hydroponics. We've done seed tapes, and we've done smashed flowers, which is a fun one if you've never done it. A little bit of watercolor paper, some mallets. You have them go on a scavenger hunt for different colors of flowers, put them in between the watercolor paper, smash the heck out of them. There you go. We like to do a lot of food crafts with permission from parents, making sure you're aware of allergies. I will be posting later on today my secret spy marshmallows, which allow you to actually send secret messages on your marshmallows. That's really fun to do. So yeah, Maker Camp is a little bit of everything. Thanks. And what I always tell people when they're trying to plan a Maker Camp is let your passion and what you love to make lead your choices for Maker Camp. Let that be your starting point. Thank you to Maker Camp. Thanks for this opportunity. This has been a lot of fun. And I hope you guys enjoy the video that is a little more sane and a little more organized. Okay, I did see it. All right. I'm getting text messages. Okay. I think we have switched. Am I turning off? All right. I am going to leave and let our video come on. If you have any questions, I'm still here, and I will be answering any questions. PM me, okay? Contact me by email. Reach out to me on Twitter. I'm here to help, and I want to see as many Maker Camps happening this year as possible, okay? Get out there and do it. All right. I'm heading out. Enjoy the video. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by.